This episode of the Answer is Yes Baja Sessions is brought to you by Baja Bound Insurance Services. Driving to Mexico? You can buy and print out your Mexican auto insurance policy online in minutes with their easy-to-use website. They also have great travel information to help you plan your trip south of the border. Visit bajabound.com.
Hi, this is Ryan Thomas, and welcome to the Baja Sessions, where we chat with interesting people with interesting stories about all things related to the majestic peninsula of Baja California. Before we dive into today's interview, I want to take a quick second and just say thanks for listening. This has been an interesting and fun project to work on. Jim Riley, the founder of this show, asked me if I'd be willing to host it, and it actually was something that I had been secretly wanting to do anyway. So things happen for a reason, and I thank Jim Riley for the opportunity to take over this show for him. I also want to quickly just say I have a small little business. Me and a good friend, Jim Hancock, make a map. We call it the Baja Map, and it is the entire peninsula, leather-bound, printed on canvas. It's a pretty rugged map. You roll it up and throw it on the dashboard of your truck when you're on the road, throw it over the hood of your truck when you stop, and then you hang it on the wall when you get home, and then you rinse and repeat. Anyways, if you're interested, you can find it at thebahamap.com. And if you use the promo code Baja Sessions when you check out, you'll get a 10% discount. Now let's get to today's interview. Our guest today is a guy named Jason Jacobs, and he currently calls Todos Santos in southern Baja his home with his wife and 3 kids. Hey, Jason, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. I can only envision your view right now, which we're going to get into here later on, but this is Jason. This is Jason Jacobs, and we are talking to him live from Todos Santos in southern Baja. And Jason and I have known each other for a pretty long time, college buddies and surfing buddies and business partners, and we're just buddies today, and it's cool that way. So,
we're
Jason.
Good buddies.
Jason and I talked a little bit about our conversation for the podcast here because we could go so many directions, and we figured out that it probably made sense to utilize the fact that he's there in southern Baja, living with his wife and 3 kids, and they haven't been there for 20 years. They've been there. He pulled the plug and bailed kind of mid growing up, and I think that some people listening to this would be like, oh my gosh, you can't do that to your kids right in the middle of they're being in grade school and so on. And so I got questions about that, and I'm open also to hearing what you've got to say. But then the other part that we're going to twist into here is what you do for a living and the fun that goes along with that and so on. So stoked to have you on the show. And let's talk about that move, man. We closed up a business together, and within 6 months, you packed everything up and moved to Mexico. What prompted that?
You know, it's a little different for us because, I have a 16-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old daughter, and a 10-year-old boy, and they've pretty much spent a good portion of their life down here anyway, because we do spend so many summers and all vacations at our houses here. So they've had a lot of input. Not only that, when my oldest was 6 months old, almost a year old, we lived down here for 4 years, and that kind of really molded her as a kid, and still has. She definitely beats to a cool, different drum, and really the kids love being here, so we enjoy it.
Yeah, so she's 16 now. You guys moved down there the second time when she was how old?
She was 12.
Yeah, okay.
She was 12. Kids were all playing. I was coaching girls softball and soccer, and boys was in baseball. And we had the typical Southern California, Orange County life, with a nice house and totally stable and great opportunity. But we had a chance, when we started closing up our gold stores, and I was, I had our travel business going, and I'd had that company for so long that we can just run that from anywhere. We have our base of people in the United States, but that's even changing, because of what we're doing down here. So we had the opportunity. It's not for everybody. I can tell you that. It's not for everybody. Things are not always peachy keen. You know, we always have people come down who are on vacation, and they always expect you to be on vacation. Like right now, I have my family in, and you know, we're doing all the great things we always do. But it's not for everybody. The schooling's not the same. The social scene, but you've got to put extra effort into certain things to make it work. So that's where we're at.
So you consciously made the decision to bail on Southern California, and I did the same thing. So we're kind of speaking the same language. But I'd love to hear in your words the contrast. What are some of the biggest things that stand out now after going back down for the second time, and you guys are 4 years in? When you come back up to Southern California, what are the contrasts? And let's not be bashing one place or the other. Let's just, look at the differences,
It's not really bashing. It's kind of factual. There's a lot of things that happen in both places that are pros and cons for kids. One of the biggest things I hear and what I see when our friends come here with their kids and they're hanging out in our lifestyle is just the social pressures as much just aren't put on the kids, and and just the competition that's there. It's pretty healthy in that state. Obviously, we don't get the organized sports, which is really cool for kids. And
wait, hold on. You say obviously, and why do you say obviously? I mean, there's organized sports down there. Maybe not in Todos Santos.
There's organized sports, right, but it's not organized in the sense that our kids were used to. They were in big leagues and playing, with a lot of different teams and traveling, and it was a different type. It's on the smaller range, but it's not that we're really here for. My kids, instead of playing softball and baseball, now have dirt bikes and surfboards. It's just got to turn. And I always say this to them: listen, guys, when everybody's done playing soccer and softball in a couple of years, you're going to always surf and ride dirt bikes and do what we do, and go on the hikes and go dive on the islands and do the other special stuff that we get to do. So I don't feel like we're losing out on it.
Yeah, it's an we've had that discussion before. That's an interesting way to look at the team sports, and there's a lot of positives to that. I mean, I know you're a sports fanatic, so you're not a sports basher, but some of the angles that you've kind of shown me are ways to think about that with, you want to learn things as a kid and become masters or good at them, and you want to learn things that you can do your whole life.
Right.
And let's face it, I'm a almost 47-year-old who still thinks I can ride half pipes and pools on a skateboard. And I could if I really put my mind to it and wanted to take a bashing, but stuff changes, and so choosing sports or things, hobbies, and activities to as a kid that you can, like I said, become a master of, that you can do your whole life, like snow skiing. I've been dealing with that recently with snowboarding, thinking, man, I should probably start learning how to ski because you see, I know guys, there's guys that ski when they're in their late 70s and even in their 80s. And I don't know if I live to be 80, I don't know if I'm going to be flexible enough to be able to get down and sit on my butt and lean down and do my bindings. So I'm with you on the whole sports thing,
When we think about that stuff and we think about our parents being 80, it's not going to be us being 80. I mean, I was... Well,
you don't think you're going to live that long?
And I surfed and dove islands on the same day yesterday, and I don't think I don't think our parents were doing that at 50.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm going to think I'm going to be surfing until I'm in my 70s, and if I was snowboarding, I'd probably be doing that. And I think our kids will be doing it into their 70s easily. It's that progression as they grow, and but a lot of it is more of we're having fun. We're building a lifestyle.
Right. So you got a 16-year-old, and she is. Isn't there a movie or something that's been being filmed down there in Todos that she's a part of?
We'll edit this part out because the movie got canceled.
Oh, no!
Yeah, and it's the guy, although he's an amazing guy and had great thoughts and will come and do it again and faithfully be part of it, he couldn't get the proper insurance work to have a minor in Mexico working on a horse film.
Okay.
And so as a dad, I kind of wanted that part of it because they were going to be doing a horse racing film where she was going to be doing, some pretty wild scenes and working a lot of hours on horses. So I just felt like we needed her to be somewhat looked after.
Why do we have to edit that out?
Maybe we don't.
I mean, was it if there's no controversy? I mean, that's real life stuff.
Absolutely no controversy,
Yeah.
and that is totally fine. I just didn't know if it was going to add to the hype and the glory, but it is. She was really bummed, but it's also opened a lot of cool doors. She's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah. Right on. Well, we're not going to edit that. I mean, it may be a little funky there for a minute, but the reality of it is that and I don't think this wasn't like some big Hollywood production. It was probably more of an indie type of film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But even then, I mean you've got to, there are good parents raising kids in Baja. How's that?
There are good parents raising kids in Baja, and I wish there was more parents in schools and the educational process down here in Cabo. It's a lot much easier. In Todos Santos, we're still trying to figure it out. I think there's some good people making good decisions, and nothing goes too quickly down here. So I think the younger ones are going to be more suited and have better options. Faith is just her own special self. She's pretty self-motivated. And although she does go to school, she does a lot of other really cool activities to help push her I guess spectrum of interest.
So that's Faith, and you got some younger ones. What are some of the other, so the listeners can kind of hear what life is like? I mean, you mentioned motorcycles. I know that isn't there like a running community? And then obviously the horses and the turtles. I mean, tell the listeners just a little bit about each one of those areas that are kind of interesting and what things that your kids do.
What we have always done since we've been coming to Todos Santos regularly for 30 years is, we've always trying to be aware and stay and help certain communities or organizations that help. So there is a great couple of turtle programs that are down here that are saving thousands of turtles. My kids last year released probably over 10,000 turtle eggs and collected, thousands. We just tried. There's all kinds of great clubs. There's people that Bomberos foundations that help the firemen department get gear for them, and they take care of the animals down here almost better than people in some situations, and there's more benefit clubs and communities. It's everything. People do try because everybody's coming down here, and it's not like everybody has a ton of families, so everybody kind of creates it, in a sense.
I think that's one word kept popping into my mind as you were kind of describing all that. It's community. It's a small community, and you guys interact and deal with each other and spend time with each other on a regular basis. Which, by the way, you guys built a skate park or a half pipe a couple years ago, didn't you? For the town square or something?
Yeah, I built with a couple friends. We built a really nice half pipe in the middle of the town in the big park, and it's an amazing looking project because we had some guys donate some beautiful mosaic tiles that they capped it with, and it's great. Kids are going nuts on it.
So it's still there and it's functional. It's not falling apart.
Still there. Drive by it all the time. And
that's cool.
It's just it's my opportunity or my desire to try to keep the kids away from the streets and in the parks and
the video
the
games.
Oceans. And so and just gotta and for my kids, my kids are skating it now, and so it's for everybody. It's great.
That's rad. Well, so
it's pretty cool because it's not like we put a big plaque up there who it's from. It's just there,
yeah.
And people just skate it, and it's a cool thing.
So there's probably people listening that are just interested in Baja in general, but maybe don't know the geography well enough. You've referenced Cabo a couple times, so let's real quickly. Todos Santos is on the Pacific coastline. Is it 60 miles north of San Lucas proper?
Yeah, it's about 50 miles north of San